I think we've played some of like our favorite shows in the last 2 or 3 years, right? Like our headline shows and stuff have just like kind of grown, and there seems to be like a bit of a building community. Yeah, it's so nice after like years of playing shows and stuff to like have people like that like show up to your shows, and there is a real sense of community, I reckon, and like really kind people, and it's so, I don't know, we love it. And I guess not having like 40,000 or whatever still there after a year of not releasing music, I kind of like super stoked there's people like getting around our tunes after all this time. Like we haven't really been outputting much, so it's like super nice. I'd say the last few years have been super exciting in a lot of ways.
Get about 20-30 minutes away from the studios, and I realised I forgot the synth. Like the whole song starts with this synth, and I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, I forgot the keyboard. It's this specific one that we're kind of chasing, and then we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then I called my little brother and I was like, dude, I'll give you $50 if you go home, grab my keyboard, jump on the train. So he does it, and he just jumps on the train, 2 hours down, gives it to me. I'm like, thanks, dude, but I gotta go. See ya.
One more car question, and my partner and I figured this out the other day, that we both independently do it. Do you, like, say you're driving from afternoon into evening and the time comes where you would flick on your headlights, do you wait until there's not a car coming in the opposite direction to turn your lights on, so that the next car that comes around, it's almost like they've always been on?
Yep, I know what you're talking. It's like you're jogging and you turn a corner and then someone comes or a car comes, like, well, I can't stop now. I have to keep going until they're out of sight.
So I do that with my headlights, turning my headlights on. I wait, if I can, wait till there's no one around, then I flick them on. And I found out that Jade does as well, and then she asked people, and there's actually quite a few people that do it, and we were pissing ourselves. Like, I just thought there was something weird that I'd done, that it's actually like semi-common.
I think sometimes I just go, oh shit, I haven't got my lights on. Like, I'll genuinely be like, I'll just in that moment, just go flick them on, no matter, and not care about it. But sometimes, maybe.
Are you normally late? Do you forget about it?
Maybe sometimes. You see someone else with their lights, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. It doesn't happen super often, I feel.
It's crazy. It's all those little things that are like, a sociologist would love those questions and why people do certain things. It's strange.
Yeah, I've got auto headlights, so I don't.
Sorry. That is pretty, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, auto wipers as well.
Pretty cool. Auto wipers,
Really?
rain sensing.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm out of the game. Do you have lane change assist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Okay. Yeah, where it jolts you and stuff. I've driven a couple of times with it and it freaks you out.
Especially, what's worse is adaptive cruise control. Because I do a lot of freeway driving. So if you get to within a distance of the car in front, it slows you down.
Yeah.
Right.
But on the freeway, if you're faster than the car that you're wanting to overtake, you can't really get that gap to overtake until you pull out, and then it will accelerate again.
And you got to use the pedal.
And you can't like get right up their ass and like
flash lights and stuff.
Like, sometimes you got to, if you're not up their ass, they're not going to move over.
How are you meant to communicate?
I know.
Like, it's just
this
adaptive cruise control is blocking communication on the road.
It is.
Yeah.
I always turn it off, but it resets every time I turn on the car.
Yeah,
so I need to turn it off every single time.
I hate pushing buttons.
But at least you can turn it off. I borrowed my dad's car for 6 weeks while he was overseas, and you cannot turn it off.
Yeah, right.
So I just didn't use it.
You can get hackers in.
Yeah, I think there is a third-party software update thing or installation you could do, but it wasn't my car, so I didn't want to do it.
You just full hack. You jailbreak his car while he's away. Yeah. He comes back and he's got doodle jump on his dashboard and stuff like that. Worth a shot.
Big enough touchscreen in a lot of the modern cars, you could.
But I have a way to actually link this into the conversation that we're meant to be having with the moving stills. Cars also have a feature where you can speak on the telephone in them. And we are joined by Tom and Mike from the Moving Stills right now. And we've got you so fresh. I love it when we this doesn't often happen because we pre-record and etc. But we've got you within 18 hours or 24, about 24 hours, almost to the minute, since you released your latest single, Telephone, the first song in about a year, almost a year to the day, I think, because I wrote about it last night. I should remember this. So welcome and congratulations on the release.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So 24 hours since it's been out, how are you feeling about it, and how's the response been in that time?
Really good. I think we feel a bit refreshed to be finally releasing music again. And it's been like a bit of a break between releases, I guess. We put Wabi Sabi out in late November last year, and we just did a bunch of touring and then a bit of traveling over winter. Then we've had this song in the can for a little while, and I don't know how you're feeling about it, Mark. I'm feeling, we sort of had a moment last night where we all messaged each other saying like, it feels good to be doing this again, putting stuff out. And
I don't know, I don't really feel much, to be honest. Like, it's a big build-up and then you release a song and it's like, yeah, cool, everyone gets to listen to it. That's incredible. But, like, I don't have any overwhelming feelings. Like, it's just the end of the process, really.
It's interesting. And then the beginning, does it feel like the beginning of another? Like,
yeah.
Because that's what I always have wondered when you release albums, and we speak about it a bit, or singles for that matter. You know the song intimately or the project intimately, and then you release it. Everybody's hearing it with fresh ears. You're at whatever stage you are with it. Obviously, you would more than likely love it, but maybe not. You're not as enthusiastic as maybe the first listeners are in that same sense. But then does it feel like as soon as it's like, okay, now we've got to do something next?
Not necessarily. Like, I don't think it really works just in like a grid form like that. I reckon like we've already started working on the next stuff, and what we're doing is just like we love making songs. That's like what we're drawn to music by, and like releasing a song is it's not. Look, I'm looking forward to. There is an extended life in playing it live, which I'm really looking forward to, and that's how the kind of art can live on, in which makes music so amazing. Is there is this whole period in creating the music, and you release it and that's done, but then you can pick it up again with other outlets like shows and stuff, which just gives it life beyond a recording on Spotify.
And I guess the longer it goes on, the better, in quotation marks, the song is connected to an audience, or the more popular it is, if you want to measure it that way too.
Yeah, I think like with previous songs, it's like, it doesn't really get old when you play a show and there's like, I don't know, people seem to be resonating with songs no matter how old they are. It's like, yeah, I guess you kind of like hand the song over in a way for other people to start doing the 100 listens that we've done, if they want to do 100.
Yeah, this is a song we actually wrote in the studio. So we wrote it and then pretty much learnt the song and then started playing it live. We've been playing it for maybe 2 or 3 months now. And playing it with it whilst no one knows this song, and I'm in love with the recording of this song. We're playing it live and just being like, I wonder like what people think. And now I love playing songs that people know, and we're just gonna have these 2 lives of this live version of this song. One before people knew it, and now, which I think is the better half, is when people know it and know the BPM, know a few lyrics, and like it's a bit of a fun song to play live. It's got a bit of energy, and
I think it's got a few moments in it too where it's like a little bit more instrumental. Like there's like which we often like fill our songs with vocals. So we've like tried to like leave a bit of space, try something slightly different.
The bass line in it's really, I think the bass line not carries it, but it certainly just keeps the song flowing and moving, if that makes sense. Like, I really dig the bass line in that track. And when you talk about like before and after, I've had a similar, but live and then seeing it before it's released and after it's had, I guess, airplay and playlisting and time. I've often wondered if someone's doing a tour and you're like the first stop once the album's dropped. You're like, that's cool, but at the same time, if we're the last stop, it gives me more time to learn the songs and be more familiar with it. As someone who's done album tours, which shows do you find have the better audience engagement?
Well, I find there's like a real sweet thing about that. Like, I feel like it almost primes you. Like, I remember it's like when you see a band you haven't really listened to their music before, but you really like their live show. And then you go and find their stuff on Spotify and you're like, oh, I remember this one. And I feel like that's a cool way to come into the actual, like almost to hear it live first. You won't remember it, bit for bit, but you'll maybe remember parts. And then when you hit Spotify or whatever.
It almost means more when the song is released. I remember seeing Peking Duck 2019, I think it was, and they played a song there on their show that hadn't been released yet, and then a few months later the track was called Your Eyes, and then they released it and I was taken back to the show and I was remembering the live performance of it whilst listening to the recording.
Got good memories. I'm having too much fun to remember anything to this one. That's nice. I've never felt that. It's awesome.
It's funny, the details. I can't remember what context. I think it was in, like maybe a work context or something. But someone was saying around me yesterday about how you can remember these like really intricate details. Like for me, it's about like a house or what, like how things need to go together or whatever, or how it finishes. But then you can't remember like your friend's birthday or like, you know what I mean? You can remember this weird odd detail from something you did 2 years ago. It's strange. But on Telephone, in that live capacity, because it had that live prior to it, was it always going to be a song that you released, or was it a song that you trialed in that live capacity to see how it was received, or you enjoyed playing it so much you thought let's release it?
Because we'd recorded it first, we knew, like, I don't know, we knew it was a good song. Can I say that? I don't know.
It is a good song.
Yeah, like we liked it.
We felt good about the recording, so we're like, and it's just like it's a bit like, it's got like flavors of stuff we've done before, but it's just like also just a little bit different and nice to come back after the album with something that just a slightly different vibe, and it's got kind of like a little bit more danceability to it maybe.
Yeah, that was one of my initial thoughts. I was like, I really want to see this live, that pace to it. I also thought it was a bit of a nod to some of that like 2010s indie pop. I had like Phoenix and Two Door Cinema Club pop into my head when I heard it in a complimentary way. I always have to say that when we say this to artists, it's not. I don't think it sounds live. I think it like there's elements that bigger, and then it was wrapped up in that moving stills brightness that you guys do so well. Right. And I really loved it.
We grew up on that. That was our era when we were like 15, 16, listening to like indie music. And like, it's just nice to kind of bring that back in a way. Like, that's who we're influenced by. That's like who we're drawn by. And so like, naturally, I think we're going to start to recreate it in our own way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's nice that you can hear that in it.
Yeah. I don't know what the guitar sound that you used in it is called, but I loved it. I think it's and the pace to it as well. It just made me want to dance. So it was one of those I had my feet tapping and head nodding straight away. And as I said, when you guys rocked up, I reckon the last 24 hours I've listened to it about 8 times. So that's a good.
Heavy.
I will say too, Eamonn messaged me last night saying New Stills is, I can't remember the word you said, awesome or
Some superlative.
Some superlative. And then said, I think it's my favourite song of theirs.
Yeah,
that's
right.
what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good
pretty
to hear.
big. Yeah.
So the fact that you knew it was good, the second you wrote it and recorded it, has now resonated in both of us. I think I said West Side's still pretty hard to beat for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that you were absolutely robbed in last year's Hottest 100.
Yeah.
Because absolutely, like, Eamon and I were messaging, and I think I messaged you guys too, and I was saying, you know, good luck. And you said, oh, cheers, man, but maybe listen to the 200 to 101. And I was like, nah, you're a shoo-in for the Hottest 100. And then, didn't make any of it. And I was gutted. I was annoyed. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was
we need that fire.
We had multiple discussions. Like, this is bullshit. Like, it didn't make sense. I don't know. It just seemed like a shoe-in on our end. But it didn't make sense. I think there was an accounting error. I think you could probably take that to the High Court, demand a recount, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was like, just on that, we just felt so, like, regardless, like, it didn't really matter for us at all. Like, all the messages and stuff we had around that, and like, I don't know, it was like so many people backing it. It was just so special to feel that. I don't know.
Yeah,
it didn't really matter for us if we got in, like, just all the energy around that was just like, this is so nice. So many people care.
Yeah, we really felt like there was people. We had a team, like we had a mad team.
Yeah, and we kind of didn't. I think it was like a moment that just made us realize that. It was like, oh, there's like people that like really care here, you know. And we're like, yeah, it was nice. It was really good.
Well, I was, as I said, I wrote for our weekly news wrap up, which I've done no posting about. I'm still going to do that for last night for our article. Anyway, I wrote an article last night, featured 5 songs as part of that. Telephone was featured, and I was looking at your Spotify when I was writing it, and it said like 40-something thousand odd monthly listeners, which is a great number. I know it's like not Spotify millionaire numbers, but it's pretty much 0 people.
I was going to say there are no Spotify billionaires.
But really, like, really good numbers. And I think Wabi Sabi did so well on a lot of the singles throughout that. Now that you've had a bit of time between, I suppose, the breakout, if you could call it that, and you're talking about having that team and having, you've got a community of 40,000 listens a month. How does it, like, do you feel different? Does that feel different compared to maybe where you were at 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and where that is now?
I don't know analytics. I'm not good with it. Tom,
I mean, like, I would say the last 3 years has been like fruitful in a lot of ways. Like, we've, like, just everything has just become like, like, just the shows and stuff. Our own shows have been like, I think we've played some of like our favorite shows in the last 2 or 3 years, right? Like, our headline shows and stuff have just like kind of grown. There seems to be like a bit of a building community, which is just like, I don't know. It's so nice after like years of playing shows and stuff to like have people like that like show up to your shows, and there is a real sense of community, I reckon, and like really kind people, and it's so, I don't know, we love it. And I guess it feels really good. I mean, not having like 40,000 or whatever still there after a year of not releasing music, I kind of like, super stoked. There's people like fully getting around our tunes after all this time. Like, we haven't really been outputting much, so it's like super nice. I'd say the last few years have been super exciting in a lot of ways.
We did support shows for the Teenage Dads around their East Coast tour, and they've gone on to, you know, massive things, and they've been mentioned 1 or 2 times on this podcast if you listen frequently.
A couple times maybe.
Their album Major Domo, as I'm sure you guys have given plenty of spins to. I have as well, because I know you guys are good friends with the Dads. How did that friendship start?
Vinny reached out to our band page in maybe 2018 saying, do you want to play some gigs with us in Sydney? And we didn't do them at the time for whatever reason. And then about a year later, we played a weekend of shows in Wagga Wagga. Oh, we did Wagga Wagga, and like we did a few shows with them, and then we just kept playing shows together, and we almost did a co-headline. We did a co-headline tour, then COVID got in the way.
I don't know. We just connected with them and made. We're just all a bit cheeky together, and
yeah, I would say like they're our best friends. Really, they're like our best mates. Whenever we're in Melbourne or whenever they're in Sydney, we're hanging out, and we kind of got each other's backs in a lot of ways. I think just look after each other, and they're doing super well, and we're so stoked for them. They're touring overseas all the time. And
so they're in the States constantly, like the last 3-4 months. It just feels like they're doing shows in the States all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just spotted some socks that say Teenage Dads on them as we're talking about it.
I am a good friend.
Mike's wearing Teenage Dad socks, for those listening, with a red tomato with a face on it, I believe. Yeah. I hope that's in some frame. I think it is. Yeah, beautiful.
I want to see something tragic.
Oh, no, there's only one of them.
Oh, it's only one. I lost one.
Kind of makes it more special. It's just a single sock.
The last tomato.
I'm interested in the point that you made, Tom, about like having each other's backs, and of course that's friendship, period. But navigating the industry and music scene does it make a big difference to have a band that you can consider like your best mates and maybe share in some of the challenges and hurdles that operating in that world comes with?
I reckon we have that with a lot of bands, that dynamic. I reckon so many bands that we've played with, I would like feel comfortable around, and like feeling like they're looking after you and you're looking after them, and it's a nice space.
Yeah, it sort of feels like you're kind of all in it together. I mean, it's a pretty interesting industry. It's a kind of interesting industry to like be trying to navigate. And I think like everyone can relate in some kind of way. And I think, when you do a few shows with a band or you hang out at a festival or something, and you sort of, pretty quickly, I mean, that's what you're all there for at the end of the day, is you're all kind of playing music and touring and stuff. And, pretty quickly you get talking about just like anything and everything music. And,
even.
Yeah.
It's like.
Oh, totally. I just mean like.
You're just like similar. You actually are. You have like very similar interests. Come from like the
lifestyle,
same like similar scenes and stuff. So you just tend to connect quite easily.
And you understand the struggles that other bands go through, where other people you meet in your life will go, "Oh, what a cool lifestyle," and you go, well, "Actually, it's harder than you think." Or these unique challenges to musicians.
Yeah, there's an understanding. I think.
Yeah.
So it's great.
And the longer you are in a band, like the more that happens, but the more you understand what being in a band is like, and the more you relate to other people, and you just go, oh, actually I've seen you like 3 times over the last year, and I don't know you that well, but like it's growing, and like I feel comfortable around you, and you're actually really cool.
and you guys as a band as well. I mean, I think we spoke about it in the last interview to some extent, but you've been doing it for quite a while, because the Moving Stills photo upload was like one of the first songs we played on one of our first shows, and we've been doing what we're doing
7 years
now. Change forms for 7 years. So you guys have been around for longer than that.
Have we? No.
Have you, Tom?
No.
Is that right?
I swear it's only been like 3.
There's a memory. But how do you how have you felt your relationship as a band has evolved over that time? And of course, you've enjoyed this kind of upwards trajectory and enjoyed a lot of success. How is that? I don't know. The bond. How does the bond feel this far in? Is what I'm trying to ask.
I've seen Tom change so much. Like being in a band and growing with him. he was a totally, like, I don't know, I've seen him just totally become this, like, lovely, kind, thoughtful person who's just like.
And that was a change from the wanker he was beforehand.
We were young. We were straight out of school and just like ready to go. But what? We're like 26 now? 7? Oh, man.
I'm 26. That's all right.
But yeah, like we've had a few people come in and out of the band at different like drummers. It's just been drummers.
Yeah.
But and it's been really quite dynamic experience being in a band. Like things change and
yeah, I think we've also been in bands for, like kind of pretty like you change a lot through those. You're learning a lot through those years and stuff that we've been playing together. But I think a huge part of it is like just learning how to communicate. Yeah, like just I think that's like pretty important for like fostering the relationships in a band and keeping the dynamic healthy and stuff. Just like, yeah, which, you know, we're always trying to learn how to do better, I think, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I think we do a pretty good job these days. But yeah, I think, it's been cool to like, I don't know, we've kind of grown up with each other. Like we're around each other a lot, like probably more than you would. We've just like, what your friends, right? Like we're sometimes away 3 days a week for a few months straight together and in a van driving for like 12 hours to Sunshine Coast or
That'll
something.
test the friendship for sure.
Yeah, you know, like we kind of learnt to just like work with each other's natures, and yeah, I think the blend works pretty well.
Yeah. One of the secrets is like, I think just accepting people's, like sometimes you have low energy, and sometimes if you're on the receiving end of that, it can feel like someone's totally uninterested in you and like don't have time for you, but like it's so human and natural, and that like you learn things like that's just one thing about being in a band. You do get tired and like moody or whatever, and that's a lesson that you kind of have to learn, I think, for like a good friendship, maybe.
Because it's obviously an intimate relationship, but it's like an intimate relationship, but you're throwing yourself constantly in pressure situations. I say this without being in a band, but I imagine that, you know, touring night after night, late nights, constant travel, the pressures of releasing, the pressures of navigating the industry that you were speaking about before. Yeah. You're doing all of that together, so you're going to be exposed to the whole range of emotions, whereas plenty of friendships exist on a plane where they don't have to go there. Yeah. And the only other place that you kind of have those relationships is often with your family or with your partner, because you share so much together. So I imagine it would be like that. And you guys have been doing it for so long, and from the outside it looks healthily. So it's I suppose a lot of the reason why a lot of other bands kind of don't make it that far.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was saying before, I think just like, yeah, communication is like pretty key, I would say. To, you know, like, how do you know what someone's thinking or feeling without asking or them telling you? You don't really. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's kind of what, you know, it's easier said than done sometimes, but I think when you got it's like really tired, you're really tired and you're in the van and it's, yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's not always like super duper easy to do, but yeah, we make it work.
And I guess worst case, you got two brothers in a band, you can always do. I'm joking, but we did chat to Sugar Soap a month or so ago, so check it out on the podcast archives to listen to that one. About this time last year, you said you released Wabi Sabi. It was about 13 months ago that we spoke to you last, and you were preparing to play Rolling Sets Festival, which, as this episode's released, is happening this weekend at the entrance of Memorial Park. You guys played it last year. What was that experience like, to play a festival on that magnitude locally?
Yeah, it was cool. We had lots of friends there, and it was pretty exciting to play it. We don't get many festivals around here, you know. So, but the weather had another idea because it started storming just before we're about to play. Big black cloud rolled over, and there was just, you could just see like flashes of lightning, and
it was such a concentrated storm.
That was the night.
It went straight over us.
Yeah,
it was great. Like a suburb over, they were like, "No, we didn't get rain."
Ripped roofs off and tore houses apart. That because I at the time lived right near where the festival was, and we were walking down, and I was trying to time it with your set, and then that storm came, and everyone sheltered in this like the car park of an apartment building, and we were kind of stuck there. And then I ran into the sun.
We gotta go see the movie.
And I ran in, and I caught only like your last 2 or 3 songs. And I was it was filthy because I didn't know what stage of the set you're at, and like how many songs you had to go, basically.
Yeah.
And I caught the end. I was like, at least I caught some. And it was great, by the way. Fantastic.
Nice.
And a really good response. I mean, you speak about the community, and it was like it was a very positive crowd to be amongst for those few songs I caught. And then, later that night, the most amount of rain I reckon I've experienced, at least in Australia, in my life. In terms of how it ended, it just pissed down. But then intensely heavy rain for like 4 hours straight, I reckon.
Spacey Jane played, 2 songs before they were like, all right, guys, we're done.
Yeah.
This isn't easing up. This is...
See ya.
Yeah, you got to go home.
My dad came to that festival, and it was his first ever festival that he's ever been to. Full stop.
In his life?
In his life.
Wow.
And gave him like the backstage experience. Showed him where all the green rooms are, and like where the esky is full of beers. And then took him into the photography pit for Ocean Alley. We just sat on the step of the crowd barrier and just watched like Ocean Alley, and he was like beaming in the best way an old dude can at a festival.
Are you attending this weekend?
We're not actually too sure what our plans are.
We're going to Melbourne. We're going to
Melbourne next week.
Tell the dads I said hi.
And then there's another festival happening down there that I want to go to. But if I don't, I'd come back and go. I would.
Yeah.
Because we don't get many festivals that are 20 minutes away from our own beds.
Yeah.
Eamon mentioned Spotify before. I was looking at your Spotify profile last night, and I was reading it. I don't know if you've updated it since Wabi Sabi. I don't think you have.
No, it's due for an update, actually.
Well, I'm glad I got you before you've updated it, because you've just got a section, the moving stills are the bands you put on when, and then there's a list of 5 things. So I want to know, which song would you recommend listening to whilst doing these 5 activities?
Okay.
So if you're cooking a 1-pot minestrone soup, what's the song to put on?
Not much washing up.
Sunshine?
Why?
It's just kind of like, I can imagine just like kind of chopping veggies and like just having that like, it's like pretty cruisy and just stable.
Stirring.
Yeah.
Good stirring song, because you'd be doing a bit of stirring if it's
a BPM on it. Can you imagine you stir? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You finally finished a game of Monopoly.
Maybe
I got you.
Yeah. I got money, like in the bank, and I got houses. Finally, it's a musician's dream.
You've just cracked open your 2nd packet of digestives for the day.
Alright, so what are we're soundtracking?
Mike, are you the digestives guy in the band? Like that's.
I'll have a nibble,
more Ben,
but
isn't it?
No, Ben's the
Yeah,
we
Ben's
all
the addict.
nibble, but Ben just like
they're a good biscuit. They're a very good biscuit.
he's just like a bad friend with him. Like he's addicted, and he just
You won't share.
no, he just gets us all hooked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going down, I'm taking you.
Yeah. He's like, no, please have one. Just have one. Come on, man, have one with me, dude. Please.
That was me at work the other day, actually. Got a packet of ice Vovos and I was like, do you want one? Do you want one? And handed them around. The packet disappeared very quickly. What song for digestives?
Maybe it's like Stick Around.
It's the second packet of the day, so yeah.
That fits.
They always,
Just before we move away from the digestives, I used to work at the reject shop as a teenager, and they'd sell them there. And I remember once, I don't know if it's on the current packets, but on the back of the packet, it said that with an asterisk, like basically these do nothing to aid in digestion.
Yeah.
They just called the biscuit digestives, which I think is genius because there's no one's saying you can't do that, but they have no digestive benefit.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's been a few times I've had indigestion and I've looked at it and I go, that'll help.
Yeah.
I had a chocolate biscuit.
Placebo.
Yeah.
Were you getting the real ones at the reject shop or were they fakes?
No, they were the real ones.
Wow.
They then went through a period of selling the fake ones, but I do remember because they were digestives, that was the name of them, and that's why I was like, you're a fraud of a biscuit.
Ben reckons they used to have baking soda in them, and that was the thing that was meant to like kind of like fuzz up in your tummy, and maybe because baking soda, it's kind of fuzzy.
Reactive or whatever,
Yeah.
But yeah,
And the final
it's not
one,
even a good name, is it?
which is something that we'll be doing this week or throughout the next week, hopefully, driving to pick up a bargain from Marketplace. So what song should we put on as we're in the car to pick up our Marketplace bargain?
You were searching. I'll let you keep searching.
Maybe a song off our first album called Perfect. And it's just... Was that off our first album?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you made a reaction on it. It wasn't. Because, like, I just find sometimes you just get the most, like, perfect shit off Marketplace that you would never find in a shop. And it's just its own thing. And what it's doing is perfect. And then bring it into your home, into your life. Like, there's so much good stuff on Marketplace. It's like, it's just a whole world, isn't it?
It is.
Of opportunity.
It is.
I was almost going to go with just Telephone, I think.
I was thinking that just because of its positive,
It's a good driving
dancey.
song, yeah.
Like if you've just bagged the bargain, chucked it on the back seat and driven, you're thrilled and you're going, windows down.
A couple Ks over the limit.
Exactly.
Bit of
Singing.
a film clip idea there.
Oh. Have you actually on that? Is there a film clip for Telephone in the works?
Yeah.
Doing one on the weekend.
Is that what's in Melbourne? Oh no, that's next week. Sorry.
No.
Clip
Yeah,
on
we're
the
doing
weekend.
one this Saturday. So keep an eye out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not sure. No, we know what we're doing.
You just can't
We
tell
know
us.
exactly what we're doing. Yeah, it's just kind of secret. Just don't want it to get leaked.
It can't get leaked. Yeah.
One last one I'll throw in before we move on from a good song to listen to whilst doing this thing. Earlier this year, I was on my honeymoon in New Zealand, and trying to find the name of it. One of the mountains that is a volcano
Fashion chaps.
on the North Island might be Mount Ruapehu or Mount Tongariro, one of the two. It's around there on the North Island. We drove past it, and just by absolute chance, so we hired a camper van, we were cruising around for 3 weeks.
Wow.
As we got to the volcano, we were taking photos of it. What song comes on shuffle while we're listening to music in the car?
I reckon 19. 19. 19. No? What was it?
Volcano.
Oh!
Kicking
That's
yourself.
so good. How did I think of that? Oh, that's incredible, man.
And then-
I love that.
My wife turns to me and goes, "Did you cue this up?" I was like, "No, I didn't."
Someone did.
Whoa.
It just the gods did.
The gods
Dude,
did. Yeah.
it's the AIs. I
Yeah.
reckon they knew.
Yeah.
They
It
sniffing
knew.
it out.
I reckon it's the moving stills AI. You guys have got some
Where
tech
our
in there.
bot is OP.
You know,
I
when you-
swear to God.
Yeah, when you talk about something, you got some movie stills branded AI that just comes in and puts you.
That's why we haven't released this year. We've been,
You've been working
developing
on that.
software.
Yeah. We built a little robot.
What's his name? Or is they?
His name's
She?
Gene. I don't know.
Gene Simmons.
Yeah, dude.
Named after your song.
Gene Mark
Gene.
Yeah. That's it. So it was just getting up to too much mischief these days, though. We need to put some discipline on this little robot.
That's the problem. That's the problem with them. Give them an inch, they take a mile.
That's it.
You'll see in the in the telephone writing credits, this is Gene Mark 1.
At what percentage?
Yeah.
We're trying to teach it to just write hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't nailed that algorithm yet.
Quite.
What about the song Gene? Was that written by Gene? Was that the first production?
Autobiographical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was Gene's first song. Just wrote a autobiography song.
I'm picturing a future moving stills video clip with a robot in it that's named Gene. And in my head now, I said Gene Simmons. I just imagine it with the makeup doing the tongue thing too.
Yeah.
Anyway, food for thought
From Kiss.
from Kiss. Yeah, the Kiss guy. On your time away, you mentioned before that you released Wabi Sabi. You toured a lot off it, and then you did some traveling. Traveling was recreational travel.
Yeah.
And how did that break feel going from album mode, releasing album mode, touring album mode? Was it kind of that much needed relief?
Yeah, it was
It
amazing.
was the dream.
Yeah.
Like,
It was at both our first times in Europe. So it was like, and I think like, yeah, we'd just been playing shows so much since, well, the whole time of being a band really. And hadn't really had like an opening before. And we just made the choice to put winter aside for some travel.
Did you go to the festival in Denmark as well?
We went to a festival in Bergen in Norway.
Norway, that's
Sorry.
it.
I knew
Yeah.
it was one of those Nordic countries. I said Nordic, not naughty. I just wanted to.
Naughty country.
I meant to say Nordic, and then I thought it sounded a bit like naughty, and then your reaction was laughter, and I thought they definitely didn't hear Nordic come out of my mouth.
naughty.
And you saw Royal Otis perform at that festival, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Royal
How
Otis
good's the
played.
research?
Yeah.
Definitely not
Yeah.
the chat with your brothers.
Yeah, they got us a few tickets, which was really nice. And yeah, it was such a good festival. It's called Bergen Fest. And it was like maybe 5 days long. We just went for one day, but yeah, really good festival. First festival overseas I've been to, I think.
And Geordie was saying it felt like the atmosphere felt not better, but like it was a more electric atmosphere. If you like, I think more energetic. He just
Yeah.
felt like there was a better energy at that
More than
festival.
Rolling sets?
Not possible.
I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was like just probably different in its own way. Like I remember it was pretty chill. I got to I reckon I was like 5 meters. We were watching Jungle, and I reckon I was like 5 meters from the stage. Like it was, like it's probably kind of chill in that way.
Mm.
You could kind of get to if you got there like a second earlier, you could you get really close. But yeah, it was like packed. Good vibes. I don't know. Yeah.
Did it give you a motivation or a dream or something to play on a festival like that?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Got the day before we were just walking around Bergen, and I could hear the Darkness playing, and just like sounded. I don't know. And then like I think Fontaine's played the day before we got to Bergen, and I mean that Fontaine's album was kind of like all the singles were getting released as both of us were overseas. So I think that soundtracked both of our trips a bit.
Who's
but yeah, Fontaine's DC.
I don't know them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We also both did separate trips, but we started in London, and we both flew to London and spent like a week or so there.
Did you love it?
Yeah, it was good. We went down to Brighton and just saw like all our Australian friends there in bands for The Great Escape.
Oh.
And that made us super keen. I was like, oh, we should definitely try to come over here soon.
Oh wait, we forgot our instruments and the rest of our band.
Yeah.
And Gene.
Yeah. It's good. It's great.
Yeah. And in terms of how you're approaching it now, you've come back, you've got this single telephone out. Are we witnessing the beginning of what's going to be a run, not like month to month, but a run of single releasing? And are you building towards something again, and Telephone's the first step of that?
We're writing heaps of music. We got stuff that we want to make and sounds that we want to delve into, and things that we want to talk about, and feelings that we want to portray. And we're both really excited to just, I guess, off the back of this Telephone song, I don't really see it slowing down.
We talked earlier about a song, I guess, the more longevity it has, the more it's connected and more reach and popularity it's possibly had. How do you guys now look back on your Like a Version that you did? Do you look back and reflect on that experience and the reception that you've had? Because we mentioned it last time I spoke to you, Tom, that was overwhelmingly positive. Do you look back on that at all?
Funny story about that, if you don't mind.
That's what we're here to do.
This is what I'm just remembering, just looking back at it, is we all jumped in the car. Central Coast, about an hour and a half drive. You have to get down there early, right? Starts at I think you have to be there at 7 or 8. Just start setting up. It's a long day. And get about 20, 30 minutes away from the studios. And I realised I forgot the synth. The whole song starts with this synth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, I forgot the keyboard. And I'm like, oh, shouldn't be thinking about this. Like, this is not what we want to be doing.
Surely there's one lying around.
Do you have a synth? Do you have this specific one that we're kind of chasing? And then we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then I called my little brother and I was like, dude, I'll give you $50 if you go home, grab my keyboard, jump on the train. So he does it, and he just jumps on the train, 2 hours down, gives it to me. I'm like, thanks, dude, but I gotta go. See ya. He just gets straight back on the train. And yeah, we started the song with that keyboard by taping 3 of the keys down, so it's like a arpeggiated synth that just runs through the whole song, and it just changed the filtering throughout. But glad we had it in there in the end.
Yeah, because I as part of my moving stills reading last night for when I was writing, I ended up on I need to update this, but at the time Telephone was so fresh there wasn't a YouTube version of it, even on YouTube Music or whatever I could use, so I linked the Like a Version just to have the video there in the article. And I was looking at it again and listened to it again and watched it again, and it's so good. And in the comment section, which I think we probably mentioned last time, I was reading all the comments, and there's just not a single negative comment. And usually whenever you touch what someone's favorite song is, no matter how many, there's going to be someone who's like, ugh. And there was not one of those.
I got a feeling there's a filter on, to be honest.
A positive filter.
Yeah.
They might.
That's my gut.
Because
it's kind of too nice, isn't it? But it's like a green meadow that you're scrolling through. It's
but
so
that's what
beautiful.
you created.
Yeah. And other bands, you do see the people go, ugh, like they really get the shits with what they've seen.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't want to be a naysayer, but I hope it's all positive. Like, that's kind of cool if it is. But.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything negative on it.
Yeah, well, I hope it's hopefully.
Yeah,
hopefully that is a bit of a change. It's pretty sad when people get like real nasty in the comments.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cringe, to be honest.
It is. I always think that when people are like, that's what you spend your time doing when you could not.
Especially when you see, I think especially when you see other musicians or other people in like, you know, creative fields, like kind of having their 2 cents in a negative way. It's kind of like.
There's absolutely no need for it.
Yeah.
What does it achieve?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like,
I've heard Trevor Noah, a comedian, he was saying he took over the Daily Show in America, and he had this guy on Twitter just absolutely like going hard at him, and he just responded and he goes, "Hey, like, what's your problem with me?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't." He goes, "I just saw that other people were talking shit online, so I just piled on. I actually, you know, you're doing all right."
It's a hard thing about technology.
Like just I don't know, like a mob mentality or mindset or just something along those lines that just happens online where people see people being hateful and they go, yeah, I want a piece of that, even if they don't believe it.
It's like, it's the algorithms, really. It's negativity bias in social media that creates attracts people's attention, because like we have a bias towards negativity, and that naturally takes our focus.
It's a stronger emotion than something positive.
And Facebook needs that to make money. So the algorithms push this like negativity and it creates it, and it's like a magnet. It's a lose, like it's an awkward situation.
Yeah.
It can't be good. It can't be good. And it's like I don't know, just how you spend your time, and if you spend your time doing negative, like with that negative energy, like why do that? Why do that when you could not do that and be happy and not have your energy?
It's embarrassing.
Well, it is. But at the same time, like you're actually up against more than just yourself. You are up against people like developers and stuff who are there to get your attention and know what is going to get your attention, and they actually know that a lot of the times it is negative, and they pump that to you. So like you kind of, there's almost like another step behind just seeing this person attacking and going like, oh, there's actually a whole system here that they are a part of.
Yeah, and I mean, people use it to their advantage on TikTok. They'll try and post controversial stuff, so that people from both sides of the fence will get involved. And it's like, oh, well, there's numbers now on the, you know, because the algorithm just chews it up.
Yeah, it goes, oh, there's good engagement on this because, you know, there's a comment that said, you know, if there was a post that said, saw the moving stills, they were awesome, I'd like it and then scroll on with my day. Someone goes, saw the moving stills, they were a hot pile of trash. And I go, who the fuck are you? And then I'd look at it, and then you're looking at all the comments. And anyone else is saying positive or negative. You have a lot more engagement and you dive deeper.
It's like our fault, but the tech companies are taking advantage that's the kind of default way that we go with things like that. You kind of like, you're intrigued. It's like you're intrigued for, there's a whole different range of reasons why you could be intrigued, but it's sad.
Nuts. And it's interesting because off mic, before we started recording, when Cam and I were trying to set up our elaborate 48 chord arrangement, which we got there with your help in the end. Thank you for that.
Need this one?
That's a great visual joke, which I'm hoping you will be able to clip up. But you guys were speaking personally to one another, and I won't say what you were saying or anything like that about that. I mean, you've just released a single. There's got to be some kind of social media approach to that and how you manage that. And you're a band that is overwhelmingly positive. Like, you're positive people. You give off positive energy. You spoke about the positivity at your shows. How do you find having to interact with that world, particularly because it's on your mind right now off the back of a single? Because I think everyone would agree, we sit here and we will talk copious amounts of shit about social media, but there's enough in it that makes us still feel like we either want or need to use it for those maybe small slivers of it that are good. But there's so much of it that's bad. So how do you guys feel about that as it's part of the business of releasing music now?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's essential in a modern world, in the music world that we're in. It's definitely essential. It's tough. Like, it is. It's a whole different job that you got to do. And
do you enjoy it?
I think parts of it, but yeah, like obviously we want to communicate with people and stuff. That's cool, but I think just sometimes like the realities of it is like coming up with like a photo and something to say. Like sometimes, you know, like we do follow what's the right word? Like we just follow what feels right. Like, oh, we got something to communicate, we'll run that now. But there are other times where you sort of feel, I don't know, a little bit like you've got to probably be active or something to keep the algorithms cooking.
The part I do enjoy is the ability to be expressive and create fun content. Like when that works, then I think it's great. And like you can just be yourself and make something fun, then that's when I love it. But when it feels like, oh, I've got this to do because we got to keep this going, and like we got to talk about this and shine a light on this, and it can just be a lot to think about, really.
You got to, you got management and team and people around you as well, which probably, pushing, okay, we need to make sure that we reference X and we need to talk about this, which you need to somehow include into whatever creativity you are wanting to create as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's always things to like announce or promote, and like, yeah, sometimes, yeah, you've got to do stuff that's outside of like your kind of expressive, creative, kind of what Mike was just saying. Like, there's a lot of stuff outside of that. Like, there's 20 tickets left to the show, or that's a pretty nice situation to be in. But like, there's like 50% sold out here. Like, like you kind of got to get a messaging across, communicate where things are at, try and like let people know you're playing shows. Like, because I mean that's the news source, right? Social media is no like gig guide in the newspaper like there used to be, where you just kind of, there's a culture of just rocking up and it's always changing too. So like the people who kind of know what's happening, it just feels like you got to have the know-how a little bit to take full advantage of it. But like, we do okay, I think. Yeah, we've learned a bit and we're still learning. So because you can share it obviously between people sometimes, but like everyone in the band has a good post up their sleeve every now and then. Looking at yours as I was last night is reflective of you, but I can, even with what we have to do sometimes, it just feels like I wouldn't, if we had the money, I would pay someone to do it. But you don't have the money. Like, obviously you want to express yourself in your way, but some of the things that you have to do, it is a full-time job and it's a whole separate job. Yeah, I think that sometimes that like kind of creative, fruitful part is makes up a pretty small percentage, unfortunately. Yeah. I enjoy being creative and, sometimes, selecting what clips we put up on the social medias and, that can be fun. But at the same time, if our only job was to sit here and record these chats, then all the video and audio we send off to other people, then we'd be able to do more of these chats. But as it is, we have to sit here. Yeah, the workload, eh? Yeah, we're the ones who are having to, put all the video together, set everything up, put all the mics out, record, edit the podcasts, do the whole uploading process, create the thumbnail, schedule a social media post, tag the artist, invite them as a collaborator, hope they accept, so then our post is seen by more people. And it's all these things you think, half an hour? Like 5 hours later. 5 hours later and the co-host, the the co-host's not accepting, so you like got a better DM them on Instagram and wait 4 hours for the reply or something.
You miss the window.
Sitting in a dark room with an arch back over this little white light.
The worst part is, we record our own audio separately. And Eamon will message me, "Hey, have you got your audio in the drive yet?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I haven't done that." Then I'm like hoping when he messages, he just hopes I'm in front of my computer or I have access to the file.
Yeah, likewise. I'm at work. I'm like, sorry, I've got nothing. But in terms of the stuff you do love doing, touring is definitely one of them. And are there plans for shows, live shows, touring off the back of this release? Or you said this is, if I'm to paraphrase, the first step in a new production era for the Moving Still. So we're going to see some tours off the back of that.
Yeah, well, we had our holiday, and we come back and played a run of shows with the Rubens, which was really great to dip our feet back in. But now we're going to make a tour happen of our own and just play to our audience and have people singing their songs. And we've got this kind of a bit of a concept tour plan happening at the moment, which we're really excited. Hopefully we can announce it before the end of the year. I'm not sure of timelines, but
only a couple of weeks maybe.
Hey.
So
well, to be fair, that is pretty much the end of the year.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
definitely before. Yeah.
When you say concept tour,
are
you, without giving it away, you able to elaborate on what that means?
Just something slightly fresh that's gonna be just bring a new element into the tour
Visually?
Let's say visually.
And the way the night runs a bit too.
Sick.
Yeah. Just change it up a bit for a tour.
We've been working on this like other little project that we're going to feature in the tour.
Cool. We'll get the details once we turn the mics off because
as much as we can.
You've got us intrigued for sure. Just quickly, I know last time that we spoke to you, Tom, you were talking about when you're recording and producing your music, you were trying to use a lot more demos. I think you coined the term demoitis, meaning because it's a demo, it can't be good. We've got this awesome equipment in the recording studio. Let's re-record it, when sometimes it's better to use something from the original demo. Have you still continued trying to do as much in-house production and using demos and all of that with some of the newer releases, or even with Telephone, or what's your process moving forward?
Funny you say that. Maybe Telephone's like the first song in like a long time, maybe first song in like 20 releases or more that we haven't used that was the demo. We wrote it
because it was written in the studio.
Yeah, like that was. But yeah, I would say. I mean, it was kind of there was a demo. It was still kind of a demo, I guess, the first day, and we just kind of built on it. But
still suffer from demoitis. We're not cured yet.
Yeah,
we still love a demo.
Yeah, well, I think maybe the way that recording happens these days has changed a bit, because you can get, how many times we heard this, but you can get pretty good results at home, right? And I think once we are still using elements still. Like I think we're doing a week in Melbourne working on some music this week, and I dare say we'll be pulling up some demos and working out of those and keeping bits. Yeah, we've always sort of like, you keep what's working and what's like kind of what it needs to be, and then if something can maybe be a bit better, or things like vocals and stuff are sometimes cool to have a go at, but believe it or not, sometimes you end up going, the demo kind of had the vibe when you were just like doing it off the cuff. So still doing it. Yeah, probably will for a long.
And how much of production is at home and in house, and how much are you going to studios and getting it overlooked by a production whiz?
Most of it happens at home, and then the last little slog happens in a studio.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time just like at home, just making music.
Yeah, I think we get a lot of the ideas down, demos, and yeah, whatever sounds are kind of on this, like hitting the spot, then we'll keep. So yeah, I guess that varies probably track to track a bit. I'd say the last album, yeah, we used, yeah, a lot of stuff. But, you know, I don't want to take away from, I think I said this in the last one, Isaac did do amazing work and definitely had a big hand in the production on a lot of the tracks and amping them up. And, you know, he would get in and he was like I would say he made a huge, like, amazing mark on the album with his synths. Like, he's incredible with synths playing and stuff, in my opinion, and making vocals sound cool and drums sound cool. Yeah, he was great. But yeah, like, you know, we'd often keep the bass or keep the guitars, or different for every song really. It was kind of like, what does this track need? And we'll roll with that.
Cool. Well, we look forward to more future releases down the track, a tour as well with some added visual concept element.
Intrigued.
And in the meantime, stream Telephone wherever you do listen to your music, because it is Eamonn's favourite release from the Moving Stills ever. So it's a glowing endorsement.
It is a glowing endorsement. I don't think it's recency bias. It could be, but either way, it's very, very good. And much the same as your previous. Very much excited to see what else is in the works, particularly off the back of that tour tease that we just heard there as well. So thank you, boys, for coming in. Chat soon.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having us. Yeah,
thank you.
Anytime.
If you did enjoy that episode that you just listened to, please rate it 5 stars, give it a thumbs up, do all that fun stuff, and then send us a cheeky message on DM and said, boys, loved that one. And I can pass all that praises on to Eamonn Snow, because he did produce this episode. It was recorded at Sonora Studios at Tuggerah. Our thanks to Jack Negro and his crew for letting us through. I'm a poet, and I didn't even know that I was rhyming those words, but it happened anyway.
It's a great idea, partner.
R.I.P. Andre Brewer. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking before the music stops, as it probably already has. This has gone off the rails.
She doesn't listen to any of the episodes, so it's fine. I know. So I asked my wife for your Wabi Sabi vinyl and some merch, like a T-shirt or something for Christmas. And I know it arrived because I saw on our doorstep to Ella from the Moving Stills. She was like, why would they write their name on it?
Shit. She didn't have the little note that said keep it discreet.
Yeah. But I saw it on my doorstep. I thought, yes.
Dang it. Sorry about that.